Case.
Okay. You can totally go on with your explanation of what's going on with ICE.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So currently, especially with the first Trump administration and with this current administration, with the abuse of the offices of the United States Customs and Immigration Enforcement being under Homeland Security, but being separate from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and also being separated from Customs and Border Patrol. Um, Having those three offices siloed allows for the absolute chaos and the abuse of the offices that we see now, where they're
Yeah.
being used to bully and terrorize. Um, I'm just going to say people of color, people who don't look pale like me.
Yeah.
Um, and I absolutely know naturalized citizens who truly are United States citizens with US passports that were born in other countries that were detained anyway because, oh, your documents are fraud. They're forged, and the court processes that they had to go through to prove that their documents were legitimate and to be able to continue to live in the country. It's it, the way the offices are set up now absolutely needs to be torn down. I don't believe in open borders. I believe we need to know who's in our country. I think that's a
Yeah, for sure.
reasonable,
Yeah.
you know, that's a reasonable ask. I mean, I can't even imagine the chaos if we had fully open borders. Um, and other countries protect their borders in a similar way. What we're doing once people are inside the country, so they couldn't go to the consulate in their home country for whatever reason to get permission to come to the United States. But once they're pass through that border and they're in the United States, we have made it absolutely inaccessible and obstructive for people to access the process, to begin their request for um, asylum, or, hey, I need this visa. Not
Yeah.
everybody who comes here wants to stay here forever, but everybody who comes here for a reason. And there needs to be a humane process to
Yeah.
get them into the space where they can stay here and work here and be safe here while they
Yeah.
work through the process of the immigration documentation that they need to be able to continue to stay here. With that being said, I know there are several sanctuary cities, and I know that there's a
Yeah.
movement um, um, have a resolution in Bakersfield, California, where we have a significant migrant worker population,
Yeah.
to make Bakersfield a sanctuary city, which would be amazing. And I really hope that that happens. And my view for and my hope for sanctuary cities is they become immigration process hubs where people who are
Yeah.
going through the process of getting their appropriate documentation and paperwork taken care of can stay and live safely in those sanctuary cities, you know, make a living,
Yeah.
support their families, and work through that process so
Yeah.
that you know, they can become either, legal permanent residents or eventually citizens if that is their goal. And if that's
Yeah.
not their goal, they can stay as long as they need to stay to fulfill whatever their goal is. So we have a lot of people here who are on the H-2A immigration visas, or I'm sorry, agricultural visas to
Yeah.
work in our fields. We have a lot of vegetables, fruits and vegetables grown in the Central Valley that require human hands to cultivate and to eventually pick them.
Yeah.
Oranges are the one of the big things that's up here. Grapes are another thing that can't be automated with picking. Um, where people are so afraid that ICE is going to come to their place of employment and round them up because we've seen it happen, that we have
Yeah.
whole vast fields of trees that just haven't been picked, and the fruit is eventually falling off the trees, and it's really really quite a heartbreaking I'm not sure. It just fills my heart with devastation to see all that wasted fruit um, that hasn't been
Yeah.
able to be picked because of what we have going on with ICE right now. It absolutely needs to be um, the word people are aiming for is abolished, and I agree with the word abolished. And the
Yeah.
immigration and border patrol enforcement needs to be a much more humane process. If there truly are criminals coming over the border, they, yes, separate them
Yeah,
from
they should be at the border. I
society,
mean, I should be
or
at the border.
yes, but not everybody's a criminal because they came here,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So that's I feel very, very strongly about that. The one citizen that I'm talking about is a close personal friend of mine, and she very graciously let me observe, the intimate details of the process of having to go to court and having to go to court multiple times. And the
yeah,
county is still fighting her to, get her the final ruling from her court process so that she can go on with her life. It's the the unreasonable fear that they've put into people, where even now American citizens are either carrying their passports or their birth certificates with them
yeah,
in hopes that if they get rounded up in a space that, they'll have documentation on them that they're American citizens. But what we're seeing across the board is that stuff's not verified. And if you're rounded up in a group, you are treated like the group. And uh, a podcaster yesterday asked me about, what is my opinion about the Core Civic selling two of their facilities back to the federal government, but still maintaining the contracts of running and
yeah,
managing those detention facilities. I think it's a horrible conflict of interest at this point. And the argument that, maybe those facilities are, putting a burden on like EMS service, ambulance service, hospital services. We're being told over and over again from every facility that nobody's getting medical care. So, it's all about people making money off of the people who are being detained. They hold on to them as
yeah,
long as they can. They make their lives as miserable as possible so that they'll voluntarily deport. And I just don't think that's ever what the founding fathers had in mind,
yeah,
when they separated from England. I really don't think that was the goal here, but here we are.
yeah,
And because it's all happened so quietly, and of course now, it's a tornado of stuff happening around us every day. It's really difficult to keep up with what's going on. And so people, it's intentional to keep people wondering, keep people guessing, keep people off balance
yeah.
so
It's
they
all
can't
about fear.
really.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is. And they can't really, calculate the impact of this thing over here because this thing over here is happening at the same time. And, for example, yesterday I read that um, the Election Assistance Commission, to the people were fired and one was allowed to resign. So we essentially have no election assistance commission. So on the surface, that looks like it's a very super scary thing. And oh my goodness, what are we going to do? But there's been other times in history where we've not had a quorum in that same
yeah,
commission, or we've not had a commission at all, and we were still able to have elections. So, it comes to the point of, what do I really need to be afraid of? What could really do harm, and what is just a scare tactic? Is there consequences of this commission not existing in this moment? Yeah.
yeah,
You know, are is it something to have an over heightened concern or fear of oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? No, I think we the people and the states can still manage and regulate
yeah,
our participation in the election process to keep them as fair and accurate and accessible as possible.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add.
There is, Lorena, thank you so much for reaching out to me and asking to do this interview with me.
No problem.
It's really important for, you know, as many avenues as people have to find accurate information about the people they're being, asked to choose to vote for or not vote for. So
Yeah.
people can find more information about me on my website. It is www.sandra, Sandra, the number four, C like cat, D like David, 20.com, or elect sandravanscotter.com. The name is Sandra, V like Victor, An like Nancy, S like Sam, C like cat, O, T like Tom, T like Tom, ER. I am on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. I love Threads. It's such a interesting
Yeah, me too.
community. Um,
Me
um,
too.
I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on TikTok. And I also have a Substack where I talk about, some of these deeper dives into, what's going on with our water. I have an article coming up about that pretty soon. I also have an article coming up about, how are you going to help our farmers is, one of the questions I get a lot. And
Yeah.
as I, dig into, what happened to the farmer and how did we get here, and again, who benefits from, legislation and regulation of how things are today, the answer to how to help the farmer wasn't as clear cut as I thought it might have been. And so I'm going to be putting up an article about that too on my Substack, which is also under my name, Sandra Van Scotter. And because I'm not accepting any PAC money, I am always looking for donations. I would really appreciate financial support to help us get it through the this campaigning time to win in November. And there'll be a Substack coming up about that too, the history of the individual donor and, how we really haven't been involved in the campaign finance process ever until the start
Great.
of the internet. So yeah, so all kinds of interesting things that I never, you know, I thought I knew enough and I was okay with where I was at with what I knew. But now that I'm learning so much more, I'm like, wow, this is this is some of how we got here with what we think we know as a population about how elections and campaigning and stuff work, has been deeply programmed by the people who definitely didn't want more involvement. And once
Yeah.
people are involved in the campaign process, the getting money out of politics is going to be the logical next step
Yeah.
because, right now we're at the space where we're mad about money in politics. So the next step is people really taking ownership of that whole process and pushing the big money out and not electing candidates who are fully funded by special interests.
Yeah.
So, so thank you
Well,
so much for your time, Lorena, and I
oh,
appreciate being with you
thank you
today.
for your time.